this again?
Yeah, we're on it again. We're back, and I'm reading again,
Oh, jeez.
and I'm reading Ready Player Two, the gift that I got a while back. So I'm sure by now it's definitely been figured out. I put a book in front of my face, usually to talk about the topic that we're doing for the day. Usually, I mean, I've read at some point most of the books that I have done the bit with. But Ready Player Two is one that I've only ever read the first one to. Got the second one, haven't yet to read it, and now I'm actually reading it.
I think this show is how you found Ready Player 2.
It is how I found that they had actually published it because
Yeah.
there was the talk of the sequel coming out, and I was just like, oh, if there's the talk of the sequel, either means they're going off on their own and making just a sequel because sometimes they do that, loot and then just screenwrite it, or it's going to be another one on the book. I knew that there was talks of the book, and I did not know that they had published it. So by looking it up afterwards, I found, yeah, they actually did. And then Keys was nice enough to buy it for me as a gift.
She's so nice.
She is. And I had been kind of reading off and on some other things. So I'd kind of put this on my back burner. And finally, yesterday or earlier today, I finished Deadpool 2, the samurai one, and was like, oh, this one's sitting on my stack of my to do the bits. I usually keep a stack of books over to the side. And I was like, I'll start this one up. And right off the bat, I'm only like 2 chapters in, but I've liked the pace that they're doing it at.
So do you think it's a good sequel to the first one?
Um, where I'm at so far, yes. And not to give too much away from either the movie or the book, at the end, they have a contest. Throughout the first one, there's a contest to try to get somebody's inheritance that's been going on for years now. The main person in this, with the help of his friends, wins the contest. And now it's more him running this company. So they start off, and it's kind of him talking about how he's now what his plans are for running this company in the future now that he is the primary inheritor of this fortune of this company. So I think like they've paced it in a good way to where it doesn't feel like, oh, he has all the answers because he won the contest. It's more of him being like, oh, even though I know all this stuff about the owner from the contest, we get a lot of this. He set up this contest, and there's all these little secret Easter eggs, and we kind of learn more about the guy who started the contest for his inheritance through it. We're still even in this being one of those like, oh, we barely scratched the surface of really knowing who this guy was as a person.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of who hasn't seen this movie who would be upset if we drop spoilers about this.
Well, again, like it's more about the difference between a book and a movie. How they do it in the movie and how they do it in the book are a little bit different, at least as far as the end and what the plans are for the future of it.
Right.
So if anybody ever wanted to read the book, I was just trying to make sure that it wasn't one of those like, oh, he kind of gave away the ending of how the book does it a bit different than the movie.
Right.
Where this one kind of feeds directly into the end of the last book.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't like missing time to figure out like, well, what the hell happened?
Right. Like that's the thing is like sometimes that happens so often in sequels, both in movies and TV shows and in books, to where from book one to book two, they're like, oh, 7 months later. And then they try to like backlog what happened within those 7 months, but it feels like so many loose chains happening with it. They're like, oh, okay. It feels like an easy way to create added plot holes that are not needed. Whereas this one, it's literally he wins it, gets this, then him taking a break away from the Oasis and then getting back into it and saying, okay, here's how I'm going to run it now.
I would like to see that movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope that I don't like bashing on the first movie because overall it's not a bad movie. I just feel like, and it makes sense just for licensing agreements and pacing of it, where I felt like they deviated away from the book, but they kind of needed to in order to make a more better flow in the movie form than what it would have been done in the book form.
Understandable.
So
Understand.
I could see it kind of coming that same way in the second movie after they take it from the book, is being that same kind of close but not the same. But there's still going to be people who have never read the book that will watch the movie. Jamie is one of them that absolutely has only watched the movie and loves the movie version of it. That I'm like, no, that's fine. Enjoy the movie for the movie,
Yeah.
because
I
like
mean, it's
that's
kind of like the opposite with me, where like I found out that they made novelizations of the Halloween movies,
mhm.
so now I want to buy them.
Right. I now is it one of those like they made the movie and then they made the book afterwards, kind of like how they just recently did with Hocus Pocus?
Yes.
Because if you go to a Walmart or any kind of bookstore, Target, whatever, in their book section, you'll see Hocus Pocus and then like the sequel afterwards, and it's pretty much the movie written down into a book.
Yeah,
I,
and I would
I
just like to have it to have it.
Right. Like I think I might have sold it at some point. I know at one point I had Scarface done that way, to where it was the movie of Scarface, and just put into a book.
You know that doesn't translate well sometimes.
No, no, it doesn't translate well sometimes because if a it depends on like what style of movie it is. It definitely doesn't work in anything that's like a high action, low dialogue type, because it means what you're primarily doing now as the author is trying to describe something that is better done visually already in the movie. To where if it's something that's very dialogue driven and you're doing a novelization of it, it works pretty well
Yeah.
because you're just taking what somebody says and putting it into a book.
Well, it's like The Shining.
Right.
The Shining is a great book. It's a great movie,
Right.
and I even like the Doctor Sleep that came after Shining.
Yeah. Good
That was
movie. Good
actually
movie.
filmed in my hometown as well, so I was pretty ecstatic about that one.
That's always good to like know like kind of the now do they do it where it's that they're shooting it out of your home city, or is it closer to a they set up the environment around it well enough to where it could be any city USA and it just happens to be shooting out of your city?
It's any city USA, and they're just shooting out of my. So Covington, Georgia, is they've done so many. In fact, I'm gonna look it up. So many movies
Mhm.
and shows filmed in.
Because like you take a movie like Black Klansman, right,
Yeah.
which is supposed to be based in Colorado Springs, but they shot the entire thing in California, but made it look enough like 19 I want to think 1970s 1980s Colorado Springs to where it passes.
Yeah, I mean, no, this is it's like it could be any town USA. Like I'll give you an example. The Vampire Diaries is supposed to be um Virginia,
Okay.
Mystic Falls, Virginia. Um filmed in Covington, Georgia, and parts of Atlanta. Doctor Sleep, same way. Legacies, which is a spinoff of the Vampire Diaries, um, also supposed to be Virginia. Halloween 2, Haddonfield, is filmed in Covington, Georgia.
Okay.
The
Now
new
does that have a lot to do with the fact of it's near Atlanta and Atlanta having the big production company, that it's easier to shoot out of a place like Covington than it is to say shoot out of actual Virginia or Illinois?
um I don't know. I think like it has to do with the scenery of Covington, Georgia, to be honest with you.
Okay. No,
Um I loved it.
yeah.
So Um,
You love it, I'm sure, because it's one of those where even though you can't tell if you're not from that area, like you said, it looks like if you've never been to a place that looks like Haddonfield. Now, is Haddingtonfield, is it just a fictionalized city of a place in Illinois?
um, I don't know.
Like
Is
Mystic Falls, Virginia, I'm guessing is a fictionalized city in Virginia for Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, it is. That is fictional.
Right,
Haddonfield does not exist.
right. So it's
Uh,
one of the,
Not in
so
Illinois.
right. So it's one of those kind of towns where, oh, we could shoot it out of Illinois, but shooting it in Covington is probably going to be cheaper to do. And it's one of those where there's probably not something around that area that they're shooting where you clearly can say, oh, that's Covington.
I don't
Unless
know.
somebody like unless it's somebody like you who is like, oh, I know exactly where they're shooting at because I've been down that street 100 times.
Um, I don't know. I don't think it's because it's so like non. Oh, you don't know what it is that they chose it. I think that it's just the atmosphere they were looking for and the feel they were looking for. I mean, parts of Sweet Home Alabama were also filmed in Covington, Georgia. The newest Footloose in 2011 was filmed in many places around Atlanta, including the Starlight Drive-In in Beaumont.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin Vinny was filmed there. Freaky, uh, which is a Vince Vaughn movie that
Yeah,
came
the,
out
the the
two
the
years ago.
knockoff horror comedy of Freaky Friday.
Yep. Vacation in 2015 that was filmed there. Remember the Titans, Goosebumps 2, Sweet Magnolias, Flight, The Dukes of Hazard, uh,
So
American Reunion.
it is one of those kind of towns where you can do a lot of outside scenery shots where probably the weather stays fairly same, conventional. They're not having to fight the weather there all year um, with its location.
I guess you could say that. I mean, like it's like I was watching this movie a couple years ago now. It's called Dumplin'. It was on Netflix, and it's about a girl. She's a bigger girl, like a plus size girl,
Okay.
trying to like fit into her mom's society. Like her mom wants her to be like she was a beauty queen and everything like that. So her mom wants her to do
So,
more
so
of
it's
that.
trying to be like a plus size girl trying to fit into pageant society.
Right, but they're supposed to be in Texas,
Okay.
really filmed in Covington, Georgia, and she hooks up with a whole bunch of like drag queens and finds her own definition of beauty.
Okay.
What else is another one that was filmed there? Medea's Family Reunion.
Now, see, like those ones make sense because it's those are produced in Atlanta
Yeah,
with
I mean Atlanta has a
Tyler,
really big
right,
production.
right, with Tyler Perry. So yeah, doing shows like that where, like I said, it's probably easier to set up crew there than it is to say go to Texas or wherever and try to do the same thing whenever your production crew is all based probably in the Atlanta area.
Yeah, but I remember watching Dumpling and I was just watching it and I was like, wait a second. And I paused the movie
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, that's Covington Square right there.
Yeah.
Footloose. I mean, Footloose wasn't exactly Covington. It wasn't far off from Covington, but that was mostly the drive-in there,
Okay.
which was pretty cool because I literally like watched the movie and was like, "Hey, I spent my 19th birthday there." Um, so I mean, my cousin Vinny. I mean, there's just so many. There's so many,
Yeah. It's sounding
and you
like
would never know
that's
that
a
this
place
little
to
ass
shoot.
town.
Right. It sounds like a place to go shoot movies at because it's not overly large, so you're not dealing with a lot of high traffic, but at the same time, it's close enough to Atlanta to where you're not feeling it's way out there.
Jamie just walked by.
That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah.
I figured that's why the dogs were freaking out a little bit. I was like, yep, they're happy their mom's home.
Yep. So Creed 3 is set to come out soon.
I saw the trailer for that yesterday. Not the trailer, but the poster mock-up for it. I didn't
Yep.
really take a good look at it. So yesterday we went out to um, a pumpkin patch.
Yes. I know I
Um,
saved one of your pictures for blackmail.
which picture did you say for blackmail? I'm curious on. There's plenty of them to choose from, to be quite honest.
You're playing in corn.
Yes, when I fell into the corn pit. Yep, yep. That
You're
is
like
something.
corn.
It's corn. I'm like, you have that one. I think there was a couple of me jumping on the big bouncy thing that you could have easily got a good picture out of, like a good blackmail picture out of. But
Yeah.
no, I had a fun time out there. It's a smaller um, kind of pumpkin patch, but at the same time, we had Key's niece there, so it was like, oh, she could do the kid stuff there, and we could still enjoy it for what it
Which one did
was.
you go to?
Why is the name of it not coming to my head? Um, if you have it on the Facebook, I think it might be time stamped. It's Klausmeyer. That's it. Klausmeyer. Klausmeyer. Dairy Farm and Pumpkin Patch.
Okay.
A lot of their like activities they have more on the weekends. They're Saturdays, Sundays. You can go to gym mining, and they do their little haunted house that they have there on the weekends. We just went on a weekday because that was our day off, and we ended up buying a whole bunch of pumpkins. You got to go pick your own pumpkin. With the admission, you can get one pumpkin, like a volleyball sized pumpkin, and then any of the other pumpkins you buy, it's just based off of size. So we
Gotcha.
went and did that. We almost went to there is a orchard and pumpkin patch that's out in I want to say it was maybe closer to you in the Derby area, but it might be Rose Hill, one of the two. I think Klausmeyer is the one that's in Rose Hill, but um, we were considering going to that one because they had their own pick your pumpkin, but they also had you could pick apples, and they have a hard cider place next to it, and you could also just get normal cider. And I was like, oh, that'd be a fun date out kind of thing. Go pick a pumpkin, pick some apples, have some cider, enjoy that environment of it.
I know that Cameron took his boys to a pumpkin patch last week. I think it was on Saturday.
Do you know which one? Like, we considered going up to the one north of El Dorado. It's called
Walters.
Walters. Yeah, that, and I had heard a lot of radio commercials on it, and I was like, oh, that'd be a fun one. I was like, but it's 45 minutes away. The admission is higher, and while there might be more stuff to do, it might be a little bit overwhelming for Blair at her age.
Walters is pretty cool. I've never been to the pumpkin patch side of it. I walked through the pumpkin patch side of it, but when I went to Walters, it was for the haunted cannery.
Okay.
So they put you on this hayride and they bring you through like a maze of cornfields to get all the way back there to where the haunted thing, like the attraction is. And it was pretty well done.
Nice, nice.
I still want to go to the one, um, 13 Sinister Souls.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is, I enjoy a pumpkin patch. I'm not much of a horror how like haunted house, horror house, those kind of things. But I know that's definitely up your alley.
Yes.
Yeah, like I think there's, what is it, Devil's Island used to be a popular one here.
Wicked Island,
That might be it.
the one at OJ Watson.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. My favorite is absolutely Field of
Field
Screams.
of Screams. That's I was
Yep.
like that. I was gonna say if you picked one, it would probably be Field of Screams would be your go-to that you enjoy.
Yeah, my buddy works as a clown there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And,
it was
and
fun.
and you're okay with that?
Yeah, because it was funny last year. I'm like, all right, we're coming up on the clown house. Like, I'm prepared.
Uh-huh.
And like, I walk in and he's scaring the group in front of us. Turns around to scare us, and then he's like, "Oh, hey Max, I was gonna call you earlier, man." And we had like a little conversation there, and then
At that point, all the weird like scary stuff just melts away the facade of it.
Yeah, but in the middle of our conversation, like Robert and Mercedes walking behind us, and he turns and scares the shit out of Robert, which was just great. Yeah, I did
Oh,
want to do 13 Sinister Souls. I wanted to do the Haunted Cannery this year and Field of Screams. My first year here in Georgia, or I mean, from not in Georgia, in Kansas,
right. From Georgia
like,
to Kansas.
well, from Florida to Kansas, like, what I was saying about the Georgia part is like, that's where all the haunted houses I went to where we're in Georgia. So
Mm-hmm.
coming here from like that, we did every single one we could find that first year we moved
Right,
here.
right. Yeah, so you went and checked as many of them out as you could around the area.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and 13 Sinister Souls looks badass. Like,
We've drove by it just because, it's off of, I want to think, Harry.
it is.
And so we've drove by it, dropping off, like going to Keys's mom's house for a Sunday dinner. I saw it one time and I was like, oh, I think that's the haunted house that Max wanted to go check out. At least I know where it's at. Not going to it, but at least I know where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's $25 a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. That's steep on a ticket entrance. Just my opinion.
I mean, it just depends on how well it's done. I
Right.
am
Right. I got you.
not last Halloween, but the Halloween before. We went to one out in Winfield. I don't even remember the name of it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it had so much potential. So much potential. It was a big warehouse. They built mazes in it. It just didn't have the fright factor. And
So did
me
it just feel
going
like a big empty space?
no, like they had like hallways that they built inside
Okay.
this um giant warehouse.
Okay.
And it had so much potential and it was family run. Like they were like, hey, we have this warehouse and this is what we're doing. Um I was just like, I'm bored. I'm bored walking through it because there wasn't enough fright factor to it.
Hey, if
Like
you
one
can
of
get
my dreams in life is to like make my own haunted house.
right. Hey, if you can give me 2 minutes, let's I'll have you do a quick talk about your opinions on the movie that we saw over the weekend, Halloween Ends, and I'll be back as soon as I can.
Oh no, guys, Jeff is leaving us.
I'll be back.
Goodbye, Jeff. Don't say that. In horror movies, they always die. Great. Now he's gonna go die. It's kind of hard to do a review on a movie when there's no banter back and forth with the two people that watched it. But for my half birthday, we watched Halloween Ends, and I am a huge Michael Myers fan. I don't know if anyone has picked that up throughout this little podcast that we've been doing. I mean, like I absolutely love Michael Myers, and I didn't like it. I hate to say that I was not a fan of this movie. If it had been named anything other than Halloween, it probably would have been a good movie, but it kind of took a turn where the Halloween movies have never gone before, and it didn't kind of stay true to its legacy, which was kind of disappointing. Um, so that's what I think. I think it was a good movie. Do I think that it's going to end there? No, because I think the way they set it up, that it made it for future generations to come back and do other things.
And you already
Well,
spoiled the ending.
no, I said it. I don't think that's the end of it.
um, here I don't I do think it's the end of it based on this weird thing. So after watching the movie, we watched it on Saturday, right?
Friday.
Okay, so yes. So we watched it on Friday. On Sunday morning, I was listening to Morning Edition on NPR, and they, interestingly enough, had Jamie Lee Curtis do. They were interviewing Jamie Lee Curtis about the movie,
Yeah.
and what she said was something rather interesting in it. She said, "I'm 64 years old. We've already tried to end this before. We've gone back and redone another ending now. what else is there for me that I can do, like at her age? How much of the story is really left of there that we can dive into? I think we've done all that we can, and we've done the story for long enough as we have that it is time to truly call it an end to this.
And that's all well and fine. However, that is an actress's point of view.
It's also an
Who is
executive. It's also an exec. At this point, it's an executive producer's point of view.
of a couple of the movies,
Yeah,
not of the franchise.
the last two of which she's had executive producer roles for.
Yeah. And I just don't think I think the reason it was written the way it was and the certain things that happened in that movie made it so there's a possibility that this story doesn't have to end. Should it end? Yes, she's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
What else
Will
can you
it?
do?
Right.
But the way that they did the movie and those certain parts in that movie that I was like, that's not Michael Myers. That's not the story of Halloween.
Right.
That's what people are going to go off of from now on.
Right.
I honestly think that they're going to take that little bit and they're going to take all of the original key players out of it and make their own thing.
One thing that I hope they do not do, and again, I could see some production company, some rights owner, somebody buying the rights to the Halloween franchise, some film company thinking, hey, we can buy the rights to this and make one more, two more movies out of it, and essentially do what they did with Chucky,
Yeah.
where, oh, he got put like in the Chucky film franchise. He gets burned, he gets this, he gets this, he gets this. Oh, he gets reassembled. And
Yeah.
as bad as I think it is, as dumb of an idea I think it would be for them to do, I wouldn't put it past some production company somewhere to try and do that. Will it be within the next 5 years? I don't think it'll be that soon.
Oh,
I
I
could
do.
see I could see it being within the next 10 because think about how long it was between Resurrection,
Yeah.
right? Was that the last one of the other series? Other
Um,
timeline?
let's dive into the timelines.
But before we get to the Rob Zombie remakes.
Hold on.
Okay.
So you do not help me out today.
Like that's my thing is like I feel like there was time, a good portion of time. Okay, go
So you had
ahead.
1978 for the original Halloween.
Right.
Halloween 2 is 1981, so they had a little bit of a gap there,
A
about 3
gap.
years.
Right.
They came back real quick with Halloween 3, which had nothing to do with Michael Myers.
Except for what's great on that one, and you did point it out while we were watching Halloween Ends. The masks that are seen in there are the masks from Halloween 3. So
Actually, I have another theory about that we can get into after that.
okay.
So after that flopped hard, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, comes out in 1988.
Okay.
I was like 6 months old. It was great. Halloween 5 quickly came out, which is the Revenge, right? Yeah, Revenge of Michael
Revenge
Myers.
of Michael Myers. Right.
Then it was a whole 6 years until The Curse came out, The Curse of Michael Myers, which is Halloween 6, but it was just Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Right.
From there, they were kind of burnt out because they went on this weird freaking timeline.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So they said, you know what? Forget 4, 5, and 6. Let's do Halloween H2O 20 years later. So they were going from the original Halloween,
Right.
which basically was Halloween 1 and
1
and
and
2,
2.
and jumped into 20 years later H2O.
Right. Okay, so what did you say was the time difference between Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and Halloween H2O?
3 years.
3 years. So you take them saying after the end of The Curse, hey, we're kind of stuck here. Redo script
Pretty much.
in 98. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Halloween H2O. So
Yep.
that's 98.
Yep. So 3 years difference. Then another 3 years passes, and you have Halloween Resurrection,
Right.
which was supposed to be the end because Laurie Strode dies.
And that's 2001.
2002.
Okay.
So four
Yes.
years.
4 years. Right.
So then it was a whole big 5 years until Rob Zombie was like, let me take a crack at it.
Right. And at that point, go ahead. Beautiful. And with that one, again, it's not a, hey, let me try to put an end to this series. He treats it like Resurrection's the end and tries to make his own redo of the 78.
Yes. So he was 2007 and 2009.
Okay.
From there was 9 years until Halloween 2018 comes out.
Okay. And so if we just, I hate to say this, if we eliminate the Rob Zombie Halloween redos and we go off, the last one is Resurrection before we get to 2018, right? There's a large gap of time there.
Yes, but it's consistent with the timelines that's already in place for Halloween.
Okay, right, but it's still it's a large enough gap of time to where it's that.
Yeah.
To where it's okay, we're going to go back and rework timeline for this one.
I don't.
So at this
I
point,
don't agree.
At this point, do we then say if the next thing that comes out is again another rework of the Mike Myers timeline of the Halloween timeline?
I don't think it's going to be another rework of the timeline.
So
I think it's going to be a brand new story going from the end of this timeline.
Okay.
It's not going to be the same Michael Myers. It's not going to be Laurie Strode.
Okay.
And that's where they're going to keep going with it. Just like they tried to do with Halloween 4, 5, and 6, which had nothing to do with Laurie Strode at all.
Right. Just
because
Michael
if you think
Myers.
about it, they did Halloween and then did Halloween 20 years later. So they don't care about time gaps.
No, they don't. Well, here's the thing. They don't care about time gaps if it's, hey, we can erase this movie from our new timeline that we're setting.
Yes.
And saying our new timeline bases it off of these things didn't happen, but this first event happened and ours forks off that.
So basically what I think they're going to do is they're going to continue this timeline, but with a new story. So they're going to be like, yes, that was the end of that chapter. Here's a sequel to that chapter. Same timeline, same universe.
Okay.
Different story.
At this point, then, I mean, you could still call it Halloween.
And they would.
Because we've seen movie 3 do it. You can almost make it okay. If I remember right, Halloween 3 though is still held in Haddonfield. Is it not?
I don't think so. No, I think it's in California.
I don't know why I thought it was still Midwest or at least exactly Haddonfield, but I could be wrong.
Hold on.
Do. Now, do you think like that's what your theory?
Yep, Northern California.
Okay, so it wasn't even in the same town. Okay, because I was like, what if it was held in Haddonfield? Then what you can almost treat it like is continuation off of now Mike Myers dead, now new killer, new Laurie, whatever, and it just become now Haddonfield is a cursed town.
You've never watched Halloween 3, have you?
No, it's been years since I have. I watched it once. Was like this isn't Halloween to me, and let it just die.
So
away.
Halloween 3 it wasn't that there was a new killer and a new Laurie Strode. It was the mask making company was trying to end the world.
Okay.
So it wasn't a hey, I'm going to kill these people. It was a corporation trying to take over the world. Um, so just another scary story. However,
Right.
I don't think that's what they're going to do for the next Halloween. I think they're still going to call it Halloween, and I think they're going to base it on the legacy of Michael Myers. So I don't want to give too much away because of spoilers. So I'm going to
Okay.
have to put
Right.
like a
Right.
spoiler thing in here. Spoiler, ding, 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 ding. Uh, he he can't come back, right? That's what they keep
Right.
saying, like every
Right.
single movie. Well, this time it'd be really hard. But there's one certain instance that happens in Halloween Ends
Hmm.
that he basically continues
Right.
without it being him. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I can see that. But whenever he did that, right, and again, not to try to give away any spoilers, that was a very close moment, and it was a very concentrated moment.
Okay, but if
So
you
the
go
question is,
through,
how would he do that now?
okay, so this last movie of this franchise was more paranormal based than any of the other ones.
Agreed, 110%.
Okay.
There was a lot of, I mean, you always get the sense of not necessarily paranormal, but more of the something happened to Michael that makes him unhumanly strong, unhumanly able to take the punishment he's taken and keep trudging on.
So it's kind of like what they did in Hocus Pocus 2, right? The witches are dead. How did they come back?
Back,
Well, this
right,
guy saw them and was a part of this instance, which made him go on this lifelong journey to bring them back, right?
right.
I think that it's going to be a similar case because through blood magic and his blood,
Hmm.
there has to be someone crazy out there. I mean, look at fucking Tiffany and Chucky.
Right. Well, if it would be something like that, it would almost be an opposite of the group who's like, we all had these incidents with Michael and we're all survivors of him, to where it's some person who says, we need to have this person alive to keep things in check in some demented mind.
No, more like I'm really dark and emo, and I really thought this was a cool serial killer.
At that point, you almost get a Candyman feel then.
Candyman or Craft
Crap.
or
Right. Right. Of doing something to bring back a dead person.
yep. Also, this last movie, Halloween Ends, took a lot from different movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, you're borrowing from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you're borrowing from Scream, you're borrowing from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like,
Hardcore, I know what you did last summer vibes.
mm. So on to my theory.
Okay.
I think I figured out how Halloween 3 relates to the Halloween timeline. All of
Okay.
them.
Okay.
It's a mask company that's trying to take over the world
Defective mask.
to an extent. In Halloween Ends, spoiler, stop listening if you don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
In Halloween Ends, his mask is taken.
Mm-hmm.
He just lays there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the superhuman strength anymore. He
Right.
fights to try to keep his mask.
Right.
I think the mask was made from the same company, Shamrock, from Halloween 3.
I could see that. And you can almost get hints of it even before that one. And it's why I say defective, where it gives him that unhuman kind of thing because he is becoming some kind of monster behind the mask. Where we get it in Halloween, whenever he's in the Halloween 2018, it's he he has the he gets shown the mask, and and the guy's like, oh, he didn't react to it in any kind of way, and then he gets it, puts it on, but he's already killed people before he puts it on.
Yeah.
I just think that the mask. I don't think that the mask gives him the urge to kill. I think
No, I think
it.
he always wants to
I
kill. I
think
think
right,
it's
right.
strength.
Because we see he had his first killing when he was 6 years old. There was nothing unique about that mask, and it's not even the same mask.
Nobody was wearing a mask.
Right. So you can almost play it into. I mean, it would be a stretch to try to play it into the whole Halloween 3 kind of thing, but it could be something as simple as, oh, this Shamrock Company has been trying to do killer evil masks since 1963. And those were like the first prototypes.
Yeah.
And then
Funny
plays
story
into
about that mask, though. And I want to see if I could somehow compare.
of which mask.
Hold on. You'll see. You'll
Okay.
see.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm trying to pull it up. Because there was a certain mask that Corey wore.
That Corey wore.
Yep.
Oh, the Scarecrow mask?
Yep. And of course, they're not going to show it to me. However, do you remember what it looks like?
The Scarecrow one?
Yep.
Um, it's very much just like slide over the face, not a full cover, very plastic filling, almost like what you would get from like a cheap Walmart mask. Like the not I say Walmart, but just a quick pull over the face. It doesn't cover anything.
Do you remember what Michael Myers' first mask looked like?
His is a clown one. Right. It's
So
very
very plastic, just over the face with a hat on top, right?
right, which would be very similar to the Scarecrow one.
Right. And I'm trying to find that actual mask.
Right.
Because I believe it has the same shapes.
It does have the hat pointing in the same way, and it does have that very plasticky, over the top, cartoony feel look to it. Scroll. No, that's in his old Halloween one.
Yeah.
Like I saw one that I almost thought was it, but no, it's Michael whenever he's 6 in the clown one.
Yeah. I'm gonna find it. I
Yeah.
mean,
No, you're right. So it does have that same look to it, which I think it was meant to look that way for the parallels of it.
yeah. So I mean, that's like I just think it draws a lot of parallels.
Right.
Because it's almost the exact same shape. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that happens. Um, so yeah, I think that's how it's going to continue. I also think that's how Halloween 3 ties back into it,
Hmm.
um, which makes me feel a little bit better about Halloween 3. He
Yeah.
wore like he wore like 6.
He's wore like 6.
Um, so technically, yes, there was a lot of different masks throughout the timelines.
Yeah.
However, it was the same mask. It was always the William Shatner whited out
Whiteout math.
mask. They just changed certain parts of it
They
depending on what
detail
timeline you were in.
right to tell how much worn it had been, how detailed it looked.
And then you go to the Rob Zombie. Of course, Sean found it because he's fucking amazing. Um, And then you go to the Rob Zombie one where it was more of like a pumpkin skin.
Right. Instead of like a tight fitting mask.
No, that's not the mask he wears. It's not, I promise.
Was there a different
It's a little kid scarecrow mask.
Right. It's almost like a bad Wizard of Oz scarecrow mask.
I'm gonna have to like sign into what I use to watch this.
Then do a screen grab.
If I can remember my password, that is.
Like I could see that parallel. I think their parallel for it was supposed to be more like him being a young, like his first time killing, and being that parallel of it, to where, again, not to give spoil, he does go for the other mask when he's thinking, I'm going to kill more.
Sure. Something. Hello?
Oh, there's Randy.
Excuse me.
That's totally so.
I have a visitor in my office.
You have visitors?
Come here, Toes.
Disney, come on.
Come here, Toes. Toes. Come here. Say hello. Come here.
Who you got?
She's used to being manhandled. She is.
God.
Oh, watch her.
Ooh, big old doggy.
This is Mistletoe.
Aww.
I call her Toes. Look at the toes.
Look at them toes. They're almost like missiles.
Look how pretty she is.
Watch her check it.
I got it.
Big old puppers.
Don't steal that toy. Bodhi would be mad.
I won't do this with that.
Bodhi's always mad.
Alright, we're gonna run to my house real quick.
Okay.
Can I keep her here real quick? The kids are outside.
Yeah, as long as they're outside.
Yeah, they're outside.
Okay.
Cuckoo.
Sean says, "Look again. Let me see."
What did he send you now to scare you?
Nope, it's not it. I promise.
Make sure that you're not gonna freak out.
It's not it.
That's done.
Please don't eat my cat.
She's never seen a cat. But Remy just stopped her.
She won't get popped.
So she's
Oh.
already scared of the cat. She's like, wait, can we be friends?
This was a nice little break here. However, I'm waiting for the preview to get through so I can actually go through.
Oh, and try to find a quick still of it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I would say the shape is very similar. The look is very similar to the clown mask that Michael wears in the very first one, very opening.
Almost there. Almost there.
Because you see Corey wear it a couple of times.
Yep. I don't know why it's not. It's like all glitched out and shit. It's like, no, you can't share this. Ugh. I'll have to pull it at some point.
Well, why you looking for scenes? You want me to ask you a trivia question?
Yes.
Okay, I got my Geek Gamer trivia questions. So I'm just
Okay.
going to go through a quick stack that I have here, see if I can find you a good one. That's a long question. You might know this one. The phrases "he's on fire" and "boom shakalaka" were made famous by which sports game? A. NBA Street, B. Madden NFL, C. NBA Jam, or D. Ultimate Table Tennis?
Where were the two phrases again?
He's on fire and boom shakalaka.
Hey, Daddy, we're leaving her here. We'll be right back.
NBA Jam?
That's correct. From way downtown. That's the third popular phrase that was used on NBA Jam.
All right. All right.
Really fun game. Really fun game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really into sports games, but yes.
NBA Street never really, I mean, it didn't catchphrase all that much because in a lot of them you're doing one on one
Yeah.
against a person. Um, Madden NFL, I mean, Madden, I wouldn't be surprised by saying either of those statements ever. But then again, I'm not surprised by anything that comes out of Madden's mouth.
I don't know what happened there.
Was that from the movie?
Kinda.
Okay.
Okay, this is going to be horrible. However,
It's gonna be hard to really. Okay, yeah, That's, and again, it has the red nose, very similar to that one. The only reason why we know it's a scarecrow instead of a clown is due to the kind of hat it's wearing and the having more of the tan cloth looking scarecrow look in the face. But outside of that,
he said, "Did you look?" I was just putting it up there.
mm.
Yes, I did look. No, you keep showing me Corey from I think Mudvayne. His mask or Slipknot.
Yeah, no, it's Corey from Slip. Whenever he does the Slipknot masks,
Right.
so that's also whenever you were looking up Corey masks,
yeah,
that's why it was giving you those masks because it was the mask from Slipknot.
Yep.
So we're talking about Corey in a movie, not Corey from the band.
Right. So, but that's there. I think that's Slipknot. You're right. I don't know why I said Mudvayne. To be honest with you, but I think that's how they're going to try to continue it. Like not through Corey exactly, but through what Corey showed us in Ends.
Right. That somebody can become a fanatic of this person for whatever reason.
And there are several movies that do that.
Right.
Several.
Right. And again,
where they're like, "Oh, that's so cool because I'm demented. I'm going to do that too." And
right,
with the paranormal feel that happened in this last movie, I think that's where it's going to go.
All right, with the whole feeling of he can pass on his evil to somebody.
Yeah.
You almost get that sense of, oh, they're just going to do that exact same thing.
Pretty much. That's
but
what I think.
But at which point does that now? I mean, I could say the same thing about Halloween Ends. There was a lot of it that whenever I was watching it in that watch through, where I just kept saying to myself, this doesn't feel like a Halloween movie. There's something about this that does not feel like a Michael Myers Halloween movie. This feels like any of the other ones that this feels like a knockoff of I Know What You Did Last Summer. This feels
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a huge Michael Myers fan. I am a huge Halloween fanatic. I mean, I have pop dolls, I have clothing, I have probably about 4 or 5 different Halloween shirts.
Right.
Some that I've made myself. I have hats, I have socks,
you have beanies, right. And like you said, you have the figures, you have the pops, you have signed autograph stuff of memorabilia. So for you, it's one of those like, no, Michael Myers and Halloween plays a highly important part in a fandom that you are hugely into and why you want to see it end. Because at some point, as Jamie Lee Curtis said in her interview on NPR, every story has to have an ending. And why can't we have this as the ending?
I think that if it actually was the ending, she wouldn't have had to do that interview saying that. Why can't this be the ending?
It's more because the person that she was interviewing is one of those who is so used to what the horror movie genre was in the 90s and early 2000s, where it's we can't let this die, we have to find some way for it to keep the story going.
I see. I don't feel like that. I mean, I love Halloween, and when Halloween 2018 came out, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna be so bad. Oh my
Right.
god!" I hesitated on watching it. I
Right.
had to wait until I was completely alone.
Because you had accepted the end of Resurrection with Laurie's death and said that's how it should be. What are
I
they
didn't think
going?
that's how it should be, but that's what it
But
was.
that's
And that's
how it was, right? You had accepted, right? Not how it should be, but what it was, and you had accepted that it's what it was, and so it was okay. Now, what do I have to reintroduce myself to in this new timeline?
yeah. But I loved 2018. I did. I absolutely loved
It's a
it.
good one,
And then last year when Halloween Kills came out, I was like, this is going to be so good. And it was. It was a solid movie. It was a solid continuation on
I
a
agree.
new timeline, but it was good. And then when Halloween Ends was announced, I was like, oh my God, this, like, even though it's the last one, it's going to be so good. And I literally watched it and went, the fuck?
Right? No, the way that Halloween Kills the last 5 minutes is just what kind of because I was feeling Halloween Kills just 98% of it. It's literally the last 5 to 10 minutes
No,
to
I
where
was judging
it's,
the beginning.
I mean, judging, yes, of Halloween Kills, not Halloween Ends, of Halloween Kills.
Oh,
Just,
Halloween Kills? Oh, I love that.
right. I would say, like, I loved 98% of it. It's that last 5 to 10 in Halloween Kills where it's just like, oh, so this is how we're going to justify a sequel. Like, this is how we're going to justify continuing the film. Like, it just didn't feel, again, it started to feel like it was ripping off other movies and other movies' ideas because they didn't know how to end it.
See, I thought that the ending of Kills was good for what I thought they were trying to set it up for.
Gotcha.
Because you have this being that won't die. Like, after the last 40 years,
You can't kill the thing.
he's not dying. And instead of cutting and like, oh my God, what's going to happen? He gets up and
Right.
slaughters everyone.
Right.
So you're kind of at that panic moment. Like, if you immerse yourself into movies the way I do, you're at this panic moment, like, oh God, what can we do now? What
Right.
can we do? And if Halloween Ends would have picked up as soon as he would have stabbed
Mm-hmm.
Karen and had it feel like a Halloween 2 moment where it's a direct continuation,
Right.
and then all of this shit happens, okay. But to start off Halloween Kills the way they did with somebody else's story,
You mean Halloween Ends?
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, yeah. With somebody else's story happening.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't care about any of this.
No.
I don't. So I think it was a missed mark. I'm sure people are going to hate me for it. You guys can tell me how much you
No.
hate me as long as you're clicking on the link. It's that.
um, no, one of the things that, and we might leave it at this point. So Keys is very new to the film series. Just literally within the last 2 weeks has watched the one for the 2018 timeline. So watched 2018, and then watched Kills and Ends on that Friday with as your half birthday.
Yeah.
Whenever we were going home that night, she said something and it stuck with me. And I mean, not in a bad way, but I was like, the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, it's so true. She said they made it feel in ends and in Halloween Ends, they make it feel like it was just that easy to do.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Like
follow all the timelines, he's been burnt, stabbed, shot, had his head cut off. The only thing they didn't do was launch him into space,
right,
which was a Jason move.
right. That's a Jason move. We can't kill him, launch him into space. He can't
Right.
come back from that.
And then you see android boobies.
Yeah. but like that's the thing she said, and it's just stuck with me. And I was like, yeah. She's like, it was that easy. They couldn't have done that 40 years ago.
No, no. I was let down by it. I really was, and I do think they're going to continue it. And I'm not happy about it. Like as a fan, I'm not happy about it.
Right, right.
But
Now we as fans that don't want to see this happen, that do fear that they're going to find a way to continue it. We could be wrong. We could be 100% mistaken, and they might make the next three best Halloween films, and we all fall in love with them. But right now, I doubt it because of how you described it. Makes sense of how they would do it.
yeah, I mean, like with Chucky, I like the Chucky movies. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the new Chucky movie where they like basically went back and redid everything.
Oh, the reboot where it's no longer a spirit inside of a toy. It's just bad programming.
Yes, I did not like that. However, the Chucky series, I very much do like.
Yeah. No, I Chucky for me, Child's Play the series has been very hit or miss, very shotgun for me. It's either man they got that right, or wow they really
Man, they're
missed the
kind of
mark.
going crazy.
Right, like
Yeah.
Seed of Chucky and Bride of Chucky. Just they're fun movies for what they are. They really are. But as part of the larger franchise, they just feel disconnected.
See, my very first Chucky movie was Bride of Chucky.
Okay.
Um, I am a huge fan of Jennifer Tilly.
Oh yeah,
I
don't get me
think
wrong. Great actress,
think
amazing
she's amazing.
actress.
So that's what made me go back and watch Child's Play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Seed of Chucky and Curse of Chucky,
Yeah.
I went, no, not for me.
No,
Not
because
for me.
again, as good as within like the realm of horror films that they are,
Hmm.
it doesn't feel genuine to the franchise of Child's Play.
No, it feels like let's just slap Child's Play on this and Chucky
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
and see how far it can carry us.
right. And again, the way that you're describing what you believe will probably happen with the Halloween series feels very much the same. Let
Now with
let's
Scream,
let's
Scream
slap
actually did
my.
it a good way.
Oh yeah, well because you could have different killers every time.
Yeah, but if you've watched Scream, which I know you and I have had conversations on,
Yes.
you've watched them. One, two, and three. One and two, great movies.
Yeah.
Three, I was just like, oh, okay, it's a little bit predictable. Four sucked ass.
Yeah.
I don't
Because
care
it
what you
didn't
say. That was a horrible movie.
because it didn't give you Scream vibes. It just
Right, but
doesn't.
Scream
Scream
5,
4 does not give you that vibe. Scream
but
5
Scream
totally.
5 was amazing, and I hope that Scream 6 is even going to be more amazing.
Right. Scream
Because it's
5
different
Scream
killers, it's
5
different storylines.
right. Scream 5 did what 4 should have done.
Yeah, that's why even in Scream 5, they were like, hey, that fourth movie, just forget about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody watches it anyway. I think it was good. I know we're over time here, but I want to show you what I found.
Okay. You found some liquid death. Which flavor did you find?
Where's my camera?
Okay, there we go. The sparkling water one. Yeah.
They make TV static water from liquid death.
Yeah. They do like there's two other like flavors I saw at Walmart whenever I was there, like a green apple flavored kind of liquid death and some other one like a gold something liquid death. And I was like, "Oh, they carry these as a non-alcoholic thing? That's interesting."
Well, liquid death was just water in a can.
Right. Well,
Like
it
it
was a
was
sparkling
pretty.
flavored thing. I know it wasn't like an alcoholic thing. It was just canned water.
So they have a mango chainsaw,
Yeah,
a severed lime,
that was the one I saw. Severed
a
lime.
bit at Walmart.
Yeah, I thought green apple, but no, it's severed lime.
I gotta go right now. Good night, guys. I gotta go to Walmart right now. And then they have a bury it alive, which is a like berries.
Yeah, like a mixed berry kind of one. Yeah, you're finding awesome liquid death. I found an awesome diner that I went to today
What'd you
and had
what?
grits. Doodall. It's
Oh, I like Utah.
yeah. I knew that there was one down in Derby. I had never been to the one up here in Wichita, and they had for their special for like their breakfast special. It was Parmesan grits with fat with pork belly and eggs. It was amazing.
They have the mango chainsaw
Uh huh.
at Walmart, just to let you know, or at
Okay.
Dillon's. I mean
At
at Dillon's.
Dillon's, yeah. No, at Walmart, I saw the mango one and I saw the lime one. And then, like, I turned the box and it was like, oh, also try these flavors. And the berry one was listed on that one as well.
I'm gonna have to go do that because
Yeah, try 'em out.
I love Liquid Death. The only reason why I haven't bought Liquid Death in the past is because every time you try to buy it from their website, they wanted you to sell your soul, and I do a lot of things that are already damning to my soul. I don't want to give that shit away for water.
No, it's pricey. It is pricey.
Yes, but Doodah, I like Doodah. Have you ever? So this is your first time at Doodah?
Yeah.
So on Sundays they do a brunch buffet.
Mm.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. We're all gonna have to go one Sunday.
Oh yeah, no. We tried that. There's a sign in there that says "I love you like biscuits and gravy," and now I want to find where they got that sign because I want that sign hung in my house somewhere. Because those that know me, I love myself some biscuits and gravy.
Too bad you don't know a guy who
A
does
guy,
printing and all.
and I don't know a guy who does any kind of woodwork to make signs.
Yeah. God, you need new friends.
Uh,
That's great. That's
but
wonderful.
I saw it and I was like, yeah, I want that. So no, I had that one, and then yesterday I had Las Rosas and had Menudo. So I was happy about new diner places that have interesting meals.
Yeah. I mean, I like going to new places and finding stuff that I love. My problem is every time I fall in love with something from like any sort of food place, it could be
Mhm.
freaking McDonald's. As soon as I fall in love with one particular item, they take it off the menu.
Yeah, like that's like I was kind of concerned with that. Not so much about the Menudo yesterday because like that's one of their selling points. Like they have it on their signage. Whenever I went in there and talked with the lady, I was just like, I was like, okay, I want to order a Menudo. And I was like, I just don't want any cilantro and onion on it. And she's telling me, I was like, yeah, I haven't had it in like 2 years. I absolutely love this stuff. And she's like, yeah, it's really popular. I'm glad that like we have it here. So I was like, yeah, now the grits and Parmesan at Duda, I could see it being one of those like rare things that they only serve as special.
Well, I mean, grits are like I said, I'm from Georgia, so grits came on everything. I mean, one
Yeah.
of Jamie's favorite fancy meals is shrimp and grits, where
Now,
there's a grit with a cheese base with shrimp on it.
right. So like here's the thing, like I'm eating this and I'm like, and I was telling Keys, I said, I know this is a savory grit style. I said, but even with it, I said, I want to add molasses to this thing. It's the only thing that would have made it go from an up here kind of meal to a just way up here kind of meal.
I think you were born in the wrong country. I'm just gonna say that out loud.
What country should I have been born in?
Do you really have to ask that?
Yes. Now, country or state?
No, like you should not have been born in the United States of America, sir.
This is very true.
You should be like, cross the pond there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm aware. I have my love of all things of the Isles.
Like you're like, I want to add molasses.
Molasses is amazing. Molasses on wheat
Could be
cakes.
worse. It could be worse.
What could be
You could want
worse?
Vegemite.
Oh, I'm not a fan of Vegemite. I've had it, just does not appeal to any sense of taste to me.
Well, next week we talk about Jeff's Eating habits. I don't know. Thanks for joining us.
Nobody
guys.
wants to listen to my eating habits, that's for sure.
No, but there is something involving eating that's coming up.
Yes, there is.
We'll get more onto that next week. However, thanks for tuning in. We're going to sign off so I can go to Walmart and I can get more Liquid Death.
You enjoy your
Death
Liquid
is
Death.
for us.
Yeah, Liquid Death sponsor us, please, and
Please
give us
sponsor
free Liquid Deaths.
I will drink 24 Liquid Death cans on every episode.
I will drink at least 4 on camera at the same time, like 2 in each hand.
I will have that beer hat with them on there, and that's hit us up, Liquid Death.
Yep. Hashtag.
One of the owners of Liquid Death actually is a very big D&D player. Did you
know that? No, but
yep.
Good note.
Yep. We'll talk more about that when they sponsor us.
Yeah. Night, everyone.
Night.
Thanks for tuning in.